Yo, yo, yo. Merry start of the Christmas season, everybody. And today we are doing Dark type Pokemon as a continuation of the hardcore randomized tier list for Radical Red Pokemon. So this one should be pretty quick. Dark type are either pretty garbage or pretty good. So again, I'll just explain the tiers real quick. Very usable means this thing's probably going in like 50% or more of it could be going into 50% or more of like all the battles that you're fighting throughout the game, which is super rare. Usable means that there are some situations where this could get used regardless of ability. And then ability dependent means this could get used if it has a good ability. Like if you land a solid ability on this, it could get used. And then unusable means regardless, even if it has a good ability, this thing's like highly likely not getting used. Like this first one, Eradicate. Normal dark type. This thing is unusable. It doesn't matter what the ability is. It's not good. It's just its stats aren't high enough. It comes down to that. Same with Persian. I guess Persian might be a little better than Eradicate because it's a little faster, and I think it gets Fake Out. So it beats Eradicate, but still not very good at all. Dark Poison type Muck is very usable. Great typing. Good answer into Mewtwo. Unfortunately, it's a physical attacker, so you do have to deal with getting burned. But even getting burned, it still does a decent job into the Mewtwo, especially since Mewtwo usually prioritizes clicking expanding force on hopefully Dialga, and Dialga can take like 4 or 5 of them. And then hopefully Dialga is attacking Mewtwo and not attacking Spiritomb. But who knows? Sometimes it just doesn't work out that way, and you lose a bunch of progress because Lance is being an idiot. Mega Gyarados is it's usable. It's just usable. Like water dark type is like kind of a niche type where there's situations where you definitely want a water dark type. The only issue with Mega Gyarados is that you're going to have to swap in a water flying type before you get to be a water dark type. So I can't think of any situations where that really matters, but most of the time when I'm using a water dark type, it's to resist a dark type move and also resist a water type move or something along those lines. Or like a psychic type move and also resist like ghost or something and water. So Gyarados doesn't really fit that role, but yeah, it's probably still fine. Like you can use it. Galarian Moltres is also pretty usable. Like its stats are very good. Its stats are spread kind of like well. Like it's bulky. Like this is just a great like doubles. Like for battles where Snarl is super useful, this is an excellent answer because it's got great special defense, decent defense, good speed, like good special attack, like decent special attack, and you just click Snarl. And it has Roost, and it even has like U-turn if you ever need it or whatever. Fantastic Pokemon. It's going usable. In fact, it's probably better than all of these. Well, yeah, it's so far it's at the top of usable for sure. And then we have Houndoom. We will rate the megas separately from the from the non megas, just because I actually have the megas for this list. Normal Houndoom, I suppose, is ability dependent. It's like its speed is okay. Its defense is trash. Its attack is like good enough to click Sucker Punch, but that's probably all you're ever gonna click. And and then it's mostly gonna click like Fiery Wrath and Flamethrower type, maybe Scorching Sands or whatever. Probably not, because if you're clicking a non-stab move on this thing, you're losing. So yeah, if you land a good ability on this, it might be usable for sure. Mega Houndoom is super dumb because this is gonna sound crazy, but this thing is going unusable because the ability doesn't actually matter, and there is one key situation where Mega Houndoom shines, and that is as a sack mon in Geo 3. You just run a timid Mega Houndoom and you open up and do not run Fiery Dance. You run Dark Pulse and you just eliminate the right side of the field. Can't get burned, so Spirit Tomb does nothing. Spirit Tomb literally does nothing to this. Spirit Tomb's first turn will be burning the Dragapult. Whatever, who cares? Dragapult is just there to exist to die anyways. So you Dark Pulse the Delphox, and then for some reason, he just instantly brings out his Mewtwo, and then you just Dark Pulse that, and then you just Dark Pulse that, and then you just keep clicking Dark Pulse. However, Mewtwo, after the first time, for some reason, it will click Expanding Force. It will bring down the Dragapult, and then once it brings out Dialga, it will start randomly choosing Aura Sphere between Houndoom and the other thing. And I think Houndoom survives one Aura Sphere from Mewtwo, but it does not survive one Aura Sphere from Mega Mewtwo Y. So, regardless, this thing is still fantastic because you get rid of the Delphox and then you basically get rid of the Mewtwo, because after turn 1, Dialga does whatever, and then you delete the Mewtwo. Mewtwo does not survive a Dark Pulse from a Mega Houndoom, and then it switches to Y, and then Houndoom is probably going down, so job done from the Houndoom. And at that point, I'm like Dialga should be targeting the Mewtwo. If it doesn't, that sucks. Then you just bring out like another Dark type that hopefully you have, like like Muck is like Muck plus like these two together do fantastic in Geo 3. But that's it. That's the only reason that I have ever pulled a Mega Houndoom out of my box is for Geo 3. And it has never walked out of that fight alive. So its purpose is to go in there, delete 2 Pokemon, and then die, which is sad. But all right, so Mega T-Tar is like, I mean, it's going to get rated the same as T-Tar because they're basically the same Pokemon, just slightly statted slightly more. I mean, I'll put it at the bottom. I know when I did the rock types, I put this at top of ability dependent, which kind of slightly makes it sound like it's worse, but really the ability doesn't matter on this. Dark type does have like 2 situations throughout Hardcore Radical Red where it serves a purpose, but outside of that, it's a terrible typing, and like even if it's on a T-Tar, it's not good. But it can be used. I do not advise catching this though. Mightyena is borderline unusable. It's definitely at the top of unusable though. Like you might use this in early game. Who knows? We will go ahead and do Lanoon and Obstagoon separately, even though Lanoon is not fully evolved. This thing is basically the same exact Pokemon as Mightyena, and it's faster than Mightyena, so we'll put it before Mightyena. It's in unusable, but like in the early game, you could bring it out. Like if you catch like a Lanoon, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll turn this into an Obstagoon later, but you're not at the point where it can be an Obstagoon yet. Like you could use this potentially in the fight before. No, you can't even use this against Camper Jeff before Vermilion City, because it just dies to the A-Palm. Yeah, I don't know, but like you could use it. Maybe like Nugget Bridge if you have nothing else. Shift Tree. The Shift Tree is unusable. It'll be at the top of unusable just by pure stats, but it's bad. It's not good. Mega Sableye, we will go ahead and throw into usable because, again, this could get used in Geo3. It is this is a Geo3 option. In fact, I'll put Mega Houndoom behind T-Tar because Mega Houndoom really only can get used for Geo3. I don't even think Mega Houndoom wins against Koga's Chi-Yu because I think Koga's Chi-Yu just beats this with a resisted move. Even if this thing has Scorching Sands, I still think it loses. Unlike, say, like a different Fire Dark type, like a Mirror Chi-Yu. A Mirror Chi-Yu actually beats Koga's Chi-Yu. Because you can run not the same moves as what Koga's runs. And then we'll do normal Sableye. Normal Sableye is like basically, nah, this thing's unusable. And the stats are just too low. Like you can't use this thing in Geo3. Like it has to be a Mega Sableye to get used in Geo3. Yeah, no, it's unusable. Sharpedo is also pretty unusable. It's too frail. It's too weak. It just pains me to see it. It just pains me to see it like this. It's just so frail, so feeble. And then there is the Mega Sharpedo, who is basically the same exact situation, but it is a Mega. It does have 100 more stats, and I guess I'll throw it in like ability dependent. Because say you get like Volt Absorb or maybe like Sap Sipper, you could find some uses for this. The problem is like swipping this. So like even if this has like huge power or something along those lines, I still don't think it's usable because the problem isn't this doing a lot of damage. The problem is getting this thing in safely. And it's not the fastest Pokemon. Like this thing's speed stat, I think is 115. Sharpedo's speed stat, I think is 95. So 115 as a Mega isn't high enough to like just swap in and then guarantee outspeeding. Like you have to be like 130 or above to confidently like fill that role. So this thing needs to have like an immunity to get put into situations to be used. Absol, normal, base Absol, dark type, just frail as sin. No, it's bad. It's honestly, it's probably worse than Shift Tree. And Sableye is probably better than most of the stuff on this list. Yeah, it's absolutely, you can't swap Absol into anything. Now, unfortunately, Mega Absol is a lot better. I think it gains like 15 more defense and special defense, and then it gains like a stupid amount more attack and a lot more speed. It gains a lot more speed. It gains like 40 more base speed. And its typing is Dark Fairy, which is incredible. However, you can't swap this thing in as a Dark Fairy. So you have to swap in a frail dark type Pokemon and then expect to bring out like a Dark Fairy type Pokemon, which just like this is just never happening. Like this is straight up never happening. Maybe against Geo3 because you can swap Absol in on an expanding force and then Mega and then delete the Mewtwo, or you could Mega and then take a neutral Aura Sphere and then delete the first Mewtwo form. But I still think you'll die to the second Mewtwo form. because it will probably target this. So I don't know. But I guess like if Sableye is here just because he's a Mewtwo answer, then I guess Mega Absol has to be as well. But yeah, I mean it's too hard to get that thing in safely. It's too weak. It's too feeble. Honchkrow. Honchkrow is a pretty bad Pokemon, just all around. It's pretty difficult to use. But it could get used with a ability like again. There's immunities or uh, like huge power. I guess Sucker Punch, huge power could work pretty well. I don't know. It gets like decently early Sucker Punch, so it's not it's definitely an option. Skuntank is kind of similar to Muck. It's just a way worse version of Muck. So unfortunately, this thing great typing though, but it doesn't learn Sucker Punch. It doesn't learn like any of the moves that Muck learns. So yeah, it's unusable, unfortunately. We'll put it at the top of unusable simply because it has by far the best typing out of any of the tiers and any of the unusable Pokemon here, but it's not good enough. And then there is Spiritomb. Spiritomb is definitely usable in the sense that this can both be a Mewtwo answer and it can also function probably even more so than Tyranitar. Like it's super slow, but it's got 2 immunities. It can like click Snarl, or no, it's got 3 immunities. It can click Snarl. It's only got 1 weakness. It's pretty good. I don't know what to tell you. This thing is pretty good. And it doesn't care if it gets burned in the face of Mewtwo. Unfortunately, this thing still like even if Mewtwo clicks Flamethrower on this, it's still not winning. But you can like snarl the Mewtwo down, which does eventually sort of win. The only problem with snarling in that double fight is he will swap Mewtwo out. Sadly, like if for some reason Mewtwo's clicking like expanding force for some reason, and you're there with a Dialga, and you guys are just taking no damage, and Mewtwo's at like -3, -4, Mewtwo will get swapped out, and then you will lose that fight. So it's not an ideal strategy. Drapion, very good Pokemon. I'm going to put it above Muck, behind Moltres. It's dead good. It does a lot of things really well. It's got a psychic immunity. It's physically bulky. It does a lot of damage. It's good. And it's not slow. It's not fast, but it's not slow. So I don't know. On like a physically bulky, it's sort of it suits it well for what it can be used for. Weavile. I mean, this thing is garbage. This thing's not. This is unusable. It's too frail. It doesn't have like it doesn't get fake out. It gets like ice shard. It's not good. It's not usable. Its typing is garbage. It's not fast enough. It's not bulky enough. It is strong. It hits hard, but good luck getting that thing in and then getting an attack off. And like I mean, Darkrai is like a really good Pokemon. Its stat spread is fantastic. It's like 25 speed, 130 special attack. And then it's got like 90 HP or 70 HP or 90 defense and special defense type situation. That is straight up like usable. And it learns Sludge Bomb. It's like one of the few like pure dark types that learn Sludge Bomb, which is useful in certain situations because it like does well, like it prevents fairy types from switching into it sometimes, just having that in its pool in certain fights. So, or it lets it like swap into a fairy type with a Rosalie Berry and then just click Sludge Bomb. So we'll put it in usable. Honestly, we'll put it like above freaking T-Tar and use it. Like this thing, you're gonna use this more than T-Tar if you have it. Probably not as much as Spiritomb. Like if I had to choose between having a Dark Rye and a Spiritomb, I'm probably choosing a Dark Rye. Yeah, we'll put Darkrai above Spiritomb. In fact, we'll put Darkrai above Mega Gyarados. But definitely Darkrai is not going above the Poison Darks or the Dark Flying. There's just no way. Oh, I forgot about Umbreon. Oh man. Umbreon is a fantastic Pokemon in like pretty much every Nuzlocke. Unfortunately, bulky dark types are difficult. Like bulky pure dark types are a little difficult to use. Now it is a Snarler and it does learn Moonlight, right? So just that alone, like this with a Choppleberry, Snarl, Moonlight access and a double battle, has usage for sure. Probably not as much. It's like just a slightly less useful version of Spiritomb, but then this thing can get used for sure. Is Murkrow worth putting in? No. No, this is not. No, Murkrow is not worth. Samurott. So Hisuian Samurott is just straight up usable. I might even put it above Darkrai up here. No, I guess I'll put it above Mega Gyarados because this is like ideal. Like this is what you want. Mega Gyarados, unfortunately, you have to swap in a Water Flying, which does not resist a lot of what you want it to resist. But swapping in a Water Dark for a situation where you want a Water Dark is great. And it comes up a lot. And it's got like Sucker Punch, it's got the move that I'm not a huge fan of the Spikes move. I much prefer the Stealth Rock move, Stone Axe, over Ceaseless Edge. But it does break Focus Sashes. It's just Focus Sashes are like breaking Focus Sashes with debris is not the best way of dealing with Focus Sashes in Radical Red. Usually a better way is like just beating it with 2 attacks and having an answer that can survive 3 attacks. That is the best way to do it. Liepard is unusable, just straight up unusable. It is probably even more unusable than Mightyena and less unusable than Persian and Raticate. So that's that. Krookodile is very, very usable. So usable that I'm going to put it in front of, in fact, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical on Darkrai's placement here. Like, it's a fantastic Pokemon, but I think I gave it a little bit too much credit for its actual, like, for the bulk that it brings. Krookodile is a dark type, so it does have an immunity. It has 2 immunities, Psychic and Electric. And it's pretty powerful, and it's not slow. It's not fast, but it's not slow. And it works really well. For ground is one of the types in Radical Red where it works really well in conjunction with like other types. And Ground Dark is sort of one of those types. Ground Ghost, Ground Dark, Ground Fighting, Ground Steel, Ground I guess Water, but Ground Water probably works in every Pokemon game ever. Yeah. Scrafty I have done, and I put him in usable, which is definitely where this Pokemon belongs. This Pokemon is crazy usable, and also this one gets Fake Out. So he gets Fake Out, and he might even get Parting Shot. As like maybe it's an egg move though, so maybe he doesn't. I can't remember. But it's a good Pokemon. It's just not quite as good as the other dark fighting types. It's better than Pangoro, but it's worse than the other ones, I think. Zoroark is like unusable. It's just straight up unusable. It's similar to like Absol. It's just a faster version of Absol that does slightly less damage. Yeah, it sucks. You can't use it. Um, uh, Bisharp is we're not gonna do. Mandibuzz. I mean, Mandibuzz is usable. It's definitely usable. It's certain like in all circumstances, it's obviously worse than Moltres, but I genuinely believe that it is better than every single else one of these Pokemon on this list because it gets Roost, U-turn, and Snarl. And that's like all you need. That's all it needs. Roost, U-turn, and Snarl. And it gets knockoff, which I don't even think Umbreon gets knockoff. Mandibuzz does get knockoff, so that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool Pokemon that like fits a weird niche that often like if this is like when you're running through hardcore, like you're certain it's not going to be a run that you win, but you will have a Mandibuzz and be like, oh, I have nothing else. Like, oh, I'll bring my Mandibuzz, and it's like, oh wow, I'm roosting and I'm U-turning quite a lot, and I'm like clicking Snarl or something, or like in double battles, this thing like click Snarl and then U-turns, or it like surprisingly does a lot despite being not a great Pokemon. Hydreigon is like a fantastic Pokemon, but unfortunately, it's not great. It needs like more speed. Like it pretty much just needs more speed to really be useful. Its typing is like Dark and Dragon don't help each other. Yeah, they don't help each other. You're just adding more weaknesses to Dark, and like sure, it has a lot of resistances, but it also has a lot of weaknesses. But it is a Hydreigon and it is useful. It is usable. I'll put it like right behind Scrafty probably. It's probably seeing more usage than Mega Gyarados and Spiritomb. Scrafty's definitely going in front of Darkrai. So yeah, like if you had a Darkrai and you had a Hydreigon, you're gonna use your Darkrai more because it's faster. And like clicking Dragon moves is pretty rare. Like you're pretty rarely clicking Dragon moves in Hardcore Radical Red. You're usually using Dragon typing as a defensive typing. So this thing's clicking Dark, which so is Darkrai. So like I don't know. Um, uh, Greninja. I mean, we'll put Greninja at the top of ability dependent because it is fast. It's not weak. It's super frail, but it is fast and it is not weak. So similar to Sharpedo, it's just way faster than Sharpedo. So there are situations where you could swap it in. Ash Greninja doesn't actually exist, but let's say you like cheated in or something and you're playing with it. I'm just gonna probably even just put it in above Greninja and ability dependent. It's still not bulky and like it's typing. I mean, it is a water dark, right? So like any situation that it doesn't learn dark sucker punch, but it does learn water shuriken. So yeah, pretty much any situation that you're gonna use Hisui and Samurott for, you can use Ash Greninja for. But again, this Pokemon doesn't actually exist. It only exists if you like cheated in. Greninja is not nearly as good as Hisui and Samurott because it's not as bulky. It's a little bit difficult to swap in, but with an ability that it could work. Malamar is like, yeah, it's unusable. It's unusable. This thing is probably gonna go like behind Sableye. It's a cool typing, but like being 4 times weak to Bug is not that big of a deal. But it's not a good Pokemon, so even with like a good ability, it's not usable. Pangoro is pretty similar to Scrafty. No, it's not. It's not similar to Scrafty. It's not as good as Scrafty. It doesn't learn as good of moves as Scrafty. but it does hit hard. And if you get a good ability that allows it to play the game, then it will do a good job. Um, Yveltal is basically just a better version of Moltres, or maybe not actually. It's like less bulky than, no, I guess their bulk is about the same. It's like a little bit faster and it does a lot more damage. But it is a mixed attacker, and like I'm not the biggest fan of mixed attackers because most of the time when you have a Gaveltel, you're running like U-turn, Snarl, Roost, and like not much else. It's great like up into the early game, but this thing like just dark flying in general loses a lot of value as you get later and later. Like once you get past the mid game, dark flying is pretty much never getting like really used. And if you are using it, you're running a risk by trying to fit a dark flying in any situation other than maybe GO3. That's like the only situation where it could theoretically work. Um, Hoopa Unbound is 100% usable. This thing is just specially bulky. It does really well. It learns really good moves like Psychic, Dark, and Ghost moves. It learns like some TMs too. I forgot which ones. I think it learns like Thunderbolt and stuff. It does not learn Aura Sphere, unfortunately. It only learns Focus Blast, which sucks. But this thing is like super specially bulky and a mixed attacker that I guess in this case it sort of works out because you get sometimes it's nice to be able to choose like, do I want to run physical for this fight or do I want to run special? Or do I want to run special and then also have Sucker Punch or something? You just can't have this thing take any physical hits, but which is fine because that's its role. Um, Incineroar is very usable. Like this thing is probably our first just very usable. Like on average, maybe not. It's probably not going into 50% of the battles. I think I might have overshot it with 50% making it very usable tier. It's probably like 33% realistically in the total battles. Like let's say you start the game and go all the way through to the Elite Four before you lose, this thing will probably see about a third of the total. Like could see a third of the total fights first. And fake out U-turn. This thing also trivializes Koga's Hoopa Unbound, which literally it's like Koga's Hoopa Unbound is one of the biggest problem Pokemon throughout Radical Red Hardcore because if you don't have an Incineroar, then the chances are you lose. Like there's a few things that also work. Um, like Blissey. I guess Blissey technically works because it doesn't have a physical move. But Incineroar with Leech Life also works. With and a Chople Berry. You gotta have a Chople Berry. And you also have to make sure you're baiting the Psychic move. If you're baiting any other move, Incineroar does not win. Because even if he takes like a Dark Pulse, he will lose. He won't be able to take a Thunderbolt after. Or even just a Focus Blast if it hits. Guzzlord is super bulky and it doesn't like do, or it's not super bulky. It's got a lot of HP and it does like a marginal amount of damage. It doesn't learn any great moves though. But ultimately, like where did I put Hydreigon? It is basically the exact same as Hydreigon. It's just instead of nah, it's worse. It's far worse than Hydreigon because it doesn't do as much damage as Hydreigon, and its typing doesn't like sure it's bulky and stuff, but I can't remember a whole lot of situations where this served me really well outside of the early game. In the early game, it did just because it's it's just a high stat Pokemon. It's just most of its stat is in its HP. I don't know. We can easily just put this at the top of ability dependent. Like it's like a 580 base power Pokemon that has like 250 of its stats in its HP. I don't know. Thievul or yeah, I think it's Thievul. Yeah, this Pokemon's unusable. Garbage. It's even worse than Liepard, I would say, because it's like its whole like thing is like clicking nasty plot. You can't click nasty plot in hardcore, so why would you be using this? You wouldn't. And then we have Grimmsnarl. Unfortunately, there is no Mega Grimmsnarl in Radical Red. That would be really cool if there was. I wish there was. Um, Otherwise, it would. I mean, I'm sure it would probably be going up here. Unfortunately, it does not exist in Radical Red. So we only have Grimmsnarl, who is also going up here. Grimmsnarl is straight up fantastic. Like Fake Out Sucker Punch just alone is busted. Spirit Break has a few situations where it's useful. And yeah, and then it does get Parting Shot, but it's not until egg moves are available. So, I mean, technically it's better than Incineroar. Yeah, it's better than Incineroar. This thing is busted. This thing makes a lot of fights easier. So it goes into S tier for that reason. Obstagoon is like it's definitely a highly usable Pokemon, but unfortunately doesn't make like its whole thing is like okay, so you swap it in, you click obstruct, and then you click like return or night slash, depending on which one's better. But it doesn't get Sucker Punch until way late. In fact, I don't even know if this thing gets Sucker Punch. I might just lose it always before Sucker Punch. But it's like a weird Pokemon because it's not useful. It becomes an Obstagoon at what 30? Is it 36 at nighttime? Um, and then you get Return once you get past Lavender City or Violet City or whatever the the Ghost Tower City. And then you get Return, and then you like it sort of has the ability to like click obstruct, click return, which is like its purpose. It only works though if it's faster. Its speed stat is decent. It's not great though. It's like 95, I think. I think it's a 95 speed stat. It's like 115 or maybe it's like 105 speed, 95 attack, 115 defense or something. Its typing is garbage, but simply due to obstruct and then return slash sucker punch when it freaking gets it. It gets sucker punch really late. But we'll keep it in usable. But like it is a simple like it's a simple strategy. Like you click obstruct, you click return. As long as you're faster, you usually win fights that way. But how usable is it? We'll put it behind Scrafty and in front of Darkrai because it's definitely more usable than Darkrai. Yeah. Yeah, this seems about right. Umbreon might be wrong. Umbreon should probably be higher. The only problem with Umbreon is it doesn't get U-turn, doesn't get like parting shot and stuff. It's basically just Snarl Moonlight. And then I guess it might get Wish. I think it gets Wish. But it doesn't get Protect in Radical like in hardcore. So I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough one to place because it like its function in hardcore Radical Red is not the same as in almost every other like ROM Nuzlockable ROM pack. It's like its bulk just doesn't scale to the same point in hardcore Radical Red. Morpeko is like just I mean it's garbage. Like Electric Dark is a cool typing. I think it's the only electric typing in the game. I don't know what this thing's stats are. It does get like a signature move Aura Wheel that I think is an electric type when it's in this form, and then it becomes a dark type when it's in this form, and it also switches its forms. I don't know. Maybe there's like a use case for that. I've never found becoming like swapping between electric and dark to be useful for anything, especially since like electric and dark don't resist they don't resist opposite, like they don't have like opposite defensive typings. And also this thing's not outspeeding whatever like whatever it is you're fighting against, so it's not good. It's weird though, because I'm pretty sure this thing is on a trainer's team in the Elite Four, and it's like, why do you have a Morpeko? It's garbage. So this is Single Strike Urshifu. Single Strike Urshifu is fantastic. I am tempted to put it in very usable. I think in the fighting section, I put him at the top of usable. Honestly, being at the top of usable and at the bottom of very usable isn't really much of a difference. It's just for, I guess, I think that was a mistake on my part. I think I should have put them both at the bottom of very usable, because it just makes it where if you like fast forward to the end and you look at it and you see, oh, dude, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He's got Urshifu's at the top of usable instead of very usable. I mean, yeah. Zygarde is pretty usable. We'll put him at the bottom of usable because like his typing's not bad. Grass Dark is useful for certain situations. It's certainly more useful than Rock Dark. His stat total is 600. He's like a mythical, but he's got a better stat spread mythical. And I'm actually tempted to put him above all of these. Actually, I'm gonna put him like just probably even above Scrafty, behind Crocodile. The only problem with this is he literally learns no moves. He learns no moves until late game. So he's running like trash, just absolute garbage moves all the way through the early game and like most of the mid game, and by then it's like, but there are still, even in the end of the mid game into the late game, there's like 3 or 4 battles where having a strong grass dark type is useful. It's why, like, well, when we get to it, or we might as well do it now. Nah, we'll get there. But a strong grass dark type does have use. Does have use. There is I forgot the name of this Pokemon. It is Quill. It's not Quillfish. It's Overquill. Overquill is a great typing, right? Like you'd think, oh, this is pretty similar to Drapion. Unfortunately, it's probably just behind Drapion as far as utility. And I would even go as far as to put it behind Muck as far as utility. Like these are all like they're similar use cases. Like Overquill and Drapion have similar use cases in the sense that they're both physically bulky, whereas Muck is more of a special answer to special type options. But I mean, we'll just keep it here. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. He's just a slightly worse version of Drapion. But great typing, can get used in a good amount of situations. Meowscarada is Grass Tark, which I just gave all this praise about. Unfortunately, Meowscarada is no bulk. Like it's just its stats aren't spread enough to be good, but it will make it to the top of ability dependent. Because if you have an ability that allows this thing to swap into certain fights safely, then it becomes usable for sure. It learns like good moves. Like Flower Trick is just straight up. It's a good move. Low Kicks is very good. It does not get early. It doesn't get like its priority early, unfortunately. Like it's not until like after Erica does it start getting access to First Impression and Sucker Punch, which sucks. And then by that point, this thing's like pretty much outscaled. But like, let's say you don't have a Golisopod on your team. Bug Dark is a usable type. So Like you're no longer weak to fighting, so you could like I mean, you're not going to swap this into a fighting type Pokemon, but you could maybe swap this into a fighting type move and then click first impression U-turn or first impression sucker punch or something. It's possible. So for that reason, we'll put it right above Tyranitar. If this thing got first impression as early as Glycopod and like sucker punch as early as Glycopod, it would be a lot better. Just for like from Surge through Erica, but I don't know when this thing gets sucker punch, but it might even be later than Erica. Like it's late. Mabao stiff, Mabastiff, Moustiff is I mean I'll put it at the top of unusable because it is like bulky enough, but it's like a pure dark type, and like pure types are unless they're just hugely statted mons, pure types are pretty rarely useful because they just bring less defensive properties to a type to the typing. Bombardier. Now I have the other dark flyings up here. Unfortunately, Bombardier is not gonna go up here. Bombardier is doesn't it might learn Snarl, but its Snarl like doesn't do a lot of damage. Also, it's not nearly as bulky as these other two. However, that being said, we will put it behind Meowscarada in the ability dependent because it does learn Snarl, and I think it might learn U-turn, and it does learn Roost, and it has like decently strong attack for like for for clicking Snarl, even though that offers nothing. Its attack stat offers nothing pretty much for most of what it's going to be used for. But in the early game, it'll click like Wing Attack or whatever, Aerial Ace stuff. King Gambit is a Steel Dark type. It is. I'm trying to think because every time I get a King Gambit, it's like, am I really using it that much? Not really, but when I do get to use it, it does a really good job to the point where it usually is also getting used against other Pokemon in the fight that I'm bringing it to. So it's clearly just a very good Pokemon. You could force this thing into multiple roles. Like it's bulky as sin. It's wasting none of its, not a whole lot of its stat and speed, which is good. And it's got great moves like Sucker Punch, like Iron Head. Like it's great. Now does it learn any other types of moves? No, I think it's just fighting. It learns like fighting and then steel and then dark. But at the end of the day, most Pokemon's jobs are to click their own stat moves. Um, yeah. Brute Bonnet, similar to Zygarde. I'm actually gonna put it ahead of Zygarde because it's just like is better like in the early game than Zygarde and stuff. It's just a nice Pokemon, and it also learns Spore. Now it is slower, so in the rare cases where you want a Grass Dark that is faster than your opponent, this is not going to be Brute Bonnet. But having Spore is nice. Like Spore knockoff Sucker Punch and Leaf Blade or Bullet Seed is nice. Let's see, where are we? We are on Iron Jug. Yeah, Iron Jug is just gonna go up here right next to Moltres and I I mean just on speed stat alone, maybe this could sneak ahead of them. Maybe it learns all these all learn like the same moves. They all learn Snarl, they all learn Air Slash, they all learn U-turn, they all learn Roost. The only difference is that Iron Jugulus also learns Fiery Wrath. Oh wait, no, so does Moltres. Wait, Moltres learns Fiery Wrath kind of late, though. Whereas I think Jugulus learns it kind of early. I'm not sure about that, but It doesn't matter. They do the same jobs. They're really good. They're really good at the jobs that they do. Um, Wo Chien, I think this one is called. It is just a way worse version of these three. It's like a attrition. It's like a win through attrition Pokemon. It doesn't get Spore. Basically, you're running this as like a Giga Drain machine. It doesn't even get a good Dark move. It's like it's not great. It's like kind of it's like a Grass Dark type Pokemon, except it's a Grass Dark type Pokemon that you want to be using Grass moves on and not Dark moves with, because I don't think it learns like Sucker Punch, Knockoff. You're never clicking Ruination. It might get Dark Pulse. I don't think it gets Snarl. So it's just not as good. I'm gonna put it like behind. Honestly, I'm gonna drop it down like below T-Tar. Just just because it's boring. I mean, at the end of the day, the Pokemon is kind of boring. It doesn't get good moves, and its stats are like super just averaged across the board. Uh, and then Chien Pao, I think this one is called. Oh wait, yeah, Wo Chien and then Chien Pao. This thing is This thing is for me. This thing is borderline unusable. It's a mixed attacker. It has like it's frail. It's like kind of fast. I guess it's like what 120 speed ish, 125 speed. It's pretty good. Its typing sucks. Like you're not like anything where you're trying to like use like ice priority for. This thing doesn't even serve that purpose. Like you're not running this against a Garchomp. You're not running this against Giovanni's Garchomp. You're not running this against like any dragon flying. You can't run this. Like this can't get put in. We'll put it at the top. Like maybe with nah. You know what? We'll put it in ability dependent. We'll put it behind Meowscarada in ability dependent because I mean it's 570 base stat total. Like you'd think that thing should be usable. I have never found a situation where that thing is usable, but whatever. Here we are. This is I forgot what this one is called. This is definitely Wo Qian. This is definitely Qian Pao. This is definitely Qian Yu. And then this one is uh uh whatever. It doesn't matter. It's going in very usable. This thing is fantastic. It like from the early game to the mid game, it's a physical attacker that gets access to Snarl, which can sometimes be useful. It gets great ground moves, which is fantastic, like Bulldoze, Stomping Tantrum, Earthquake. Doesn't get Sucker Punch, which would be nice. That's unfortunate. In fact, I don't actually think it gets any good dark moves. Like it doesn't learn Crunch. It doesn't like it just gets Ruination and then it gets Snarl. It doesn't get Sucker Punch. It might get Knockoff. I can't remember. Either way, even still, this thing is probably seeing more use than King Gambit, like just throughout the game, right? So yeah. And then there is Qian Yu, or yeah, something like that. This thing has a few cases where it is super clutch, and outside of that, it's obviously too frail to be used. So, like, this thing wins its mere matchup against Koga because you can run like hidden power fighting, and Koga doesn't have a move that is super effective against you, and your special defense is good enough, I think, to win. Like I'm pretty sure you one shot him, and then you also take two flamethrowers. It just comes down to whether he's clicking Dark Pulse and you flinch. But I think he clicks Flamethrower because Flamethrower has 10 more base power than Dark Pulse. So I think the AI always goes for Flamethrower against a Fire Dark type, which is definitely helpful. So yeah, and it's also just it's fast and it does an insane amount of damage, and it learns like Snarl. and stuff. So it's definitely usable for like doubles and whatnot. But it is the type of Pokemon that like once you're past Koga, like this thing could just get used as a Sackmon in Geo3. Like you could just put this in, click Dark Pulse on the Delphox, click Dark Pulse on the Mewtwo, and then hopefully click Dark Pulse again on the Mewtwo. But you might be dead before then. But yeah, it's another one of those types of monsters. Which in that case, it's just unlike Mega Houndoom or Houndoom, it has more utility outside of Mewtwo 3. Like, yeah, because it's just got more stats. And then there is Roaring Moon, the last one on the dark type list. And where did I put so I have the other dark dragon type here, which is Hydreigon. Roaring Moon is definitely, it has 20 less stat, but it's just better than Roaring Moon. Or sorry, it's better than Hydreigon. But is it better than Obstagoon? Probably not. Yeah, probably not. So that concludes the list of all the dark type Pokemon, and I suppose the megas. There's not actually that many dark type megas, which is a little crazy. Um, so again, I'll just real quick. So this one has. I need to be a little bit more selective about who's going in the very usable tier. I'm gonna try and be from now on. Although I might have been pretty good about that in general, but like usable is should be the biggest, like the most Pokemon, and then unusable should be the second most, depending on the typing. And then ability dependent really just is sort of selective in the sense that this really just has to have a good ability to even be used. But in very usable, we'll just go through them. Grimmsnarl, dead good, makes a lot of battles a lot easier, which is why he's in there. Cineroar, same as Grimmsnarl. They both get access to Fake Out. They both get access to Parting Shot. It's just Incineroar it is slightly bulkier. And Grimmsnarl just has access to priority. That's the only difference between them. And then you got Urshifu Single Strike, who is very, very good in the late game. Like as you progress through the game, Urshifu Rapid Strike is definitely better in the early game. And then this one, it's like like Tien something, like Woe Tien or something, like Tien Pao, Tien Tien Yu or something, Woe Tien. Uh, it's straight up dead good. Like it's a ground dark type, similar to like Crocodile's like up here, like ground dark. Actually, nah, because it doesn't even get as good of ground type moves or dark type moves as Crocodile. I don't know. It's bulkier than Crocodile though, so like nah, it does. It is in the very usable tier because it like there's a lot of fights where you could bring this to and you could not bring a Crocodile to. Simply due to the fact that this has enough bulk, like enough HP and defense to like just tank a lot. And then there is the King Gambit, who's I mean he's just crazy statted. His typing doesn't work that well, but steel type like in Radical Red, being a steel type with pretty much any type works decently well. Like steel is just so valuable, even though like in actuality it's like it still has three weaknesses. Um, I really don't have an explanation as to why steel is so good. I just find that every time I get like a steel flying type, a steel dragon type, a steel ground type, a steel dark type, I find myself using them a bunch. I have no idea why. But that's the very usable tier. King Gambit should probably come down because he's not like you're not bringing him to a third of the fights. We'll put him in like top of usable just because he's the best Pokemon here. And then you got your dark flying types, which are all pretty, like, it's funny because they're all right next to each other. They are literally all right here, and they all do the same job. And they do that job extremely well. It's like Snarl, Roost, U-turn. And all of them can do that, which is crazy. Yeah, and then the rest of these, which I don't really want to talk about. So that's the dark type tier list. Make sure you guys drop a comment if there is anything on here that you think is an egregious error on my part. Make sure you let me know because I do enjoy reading them and I will give it a thumbs up or a heart. So definitely scrutinize my ability to rank a game that I have no experience actually beating. So yeah, peace, go well.